Hi, my name is Kylie Enwright and welcome to Kylie's Ask an Expert. The whole reason why I decided to start some short videos was basically to create awareness for small business owners about products and services that are available to us and the benefits that they could bring to our business. So stay tuned and I hope you like what you see. Hi, my name is Kylie Enwright and today I'm joined by Jeff Cooke from Apprenticeship Support Australia. Thanks Jeff for giving up your time to come and speak with us today.
Yeah, not a problem. Thanks for inviting me.
No worries. So what services do Apprenticeship Support Australia provide and in what states?
Yep, so we're an apprenticeship network provider contracted by the federal government, and we basically provide apprenticeship and traineeship services in New South Wales, Victoria and WA. We are a free service. We can assist in those other states as well through our contracted partners. And basically the service we provide, initially we can assist with providing advice to employers on the relevant qualifications that might suit their industry and suit their employees. We can then assist with we have a jobs board where employers can advertise their positions for free and some potential job matching. We have candidates that log into that website. And then what happens then from there is we help with that onboarding. So we come out and do an assessment, whether that's face-to-face or over the phone or on things like Zoom. And then we basically would conduct a sign-up. So there's a training contract that's put in place and we'll complete that training contract with both employer, apprentice and trainee. Advise on what federal incentives there are and what funding's available for that training in each state as well. From there, we continue that support throughout the apprenticeship or traineeship via our mentoring and coaching services.
Okay, and so what's the difference between a traineeship and an apprenticeship?
Yes, the main difference is apprenticeships are trade qualifications. So most popular ones would be something like carpentry, plumbing, electrical, hairdressing versus non-trading traineeships. So traineeships popularity would be childcare, business administration, retail, hospitality. Apprenticeships usually go for 3 or 4 years, whereas traineeships would usually consist of say between 1 and 3 years full time.
Okay, and what sort of criteria should an employer be looking at if they were wanting to put a trainee on and be eligible for some of those incentives?
Yes, so the first thing to look at is they need to be a new employee to the business. So they have to be signed into an apprenticeship or traineeship within the first 3 months if they're a full-time employee, or within the first 12 months if they're part-time. And then that guarantees that they should get some state government funding to cover the cost of the course. And then on top of that, the eligibility for those federal incentives is assessed individually based on the person, whether they hold any prior qualifications. Usually a school leaver, even if they've done qualifications at school, you would be eligible. But it's those that have done qualifications post-school, we need to assess that. So if they do hold something, even if it's not related to what we're signing them into, potentially that could rule someone out. But they may have qualifications that are over 7 years old that may not affect, and that's something that we can assist with initially to help assess that criteria to find out whether an employer would be eligible.
Yeah, so basically looking at sort of putting them on quite quickly once you've hired them, and 7 years sort of doing any kind of qualification. Is that a Cert 2 or Cert 3, or it just depends? Or?
Yeah, so if someone holds a diploma or higher, so diploma, degree, associate diploma, then an employer wouldn't be eligible for incentives. So to be those certificate 2, 3s and 4 qualifications that we'd need to assess, as I said, if they've done it within the last 7 years, it may affect those incentives, but if it's older than that, or potentially in a different qualification, then we may be able to look at it. It's all an individual case-by-case basis.
Yeah. And so what is the cost of training?
Yep, so with the cost of training, and here in New South Wales, the the state government in the Department of Education Training Services, they fund the cost of training for those new apprentices or trainees. So previously there had been a enrolment or application student fee for traineeships of $1,000 and apprentices for $2,000. They are currently being covered by the state government. So it's basically fee-free apprenticeships and traineeships until further notice here in New South Wales. Other states have similar options, and those can change from time to time. So we can check that, when someone inquires about what they wanted to look into, and we can double check. But at the moment in New South Wales, it's fee-free for both.
Okay, great. So you could, if you're obviously eligible, you could basically get the training subsidised for free and also receive the incentives back from the government as well.
Correct, yes.
Excellent. So a bit more specific regarding the pest industry, if I was wanting to put a trainee on to get their Certificate 3 in Urban Pest Management, what sort of time frame would that traineeship go for?
Yep, so the Certificate 3 in the Urban Pest Management is a 24-month full-time qualification. If they're a part-time employee, they'd need to be doing at least 21 hours per week minimum to qualify, and that would just push the term out to 36 months. Just keep in mind, all apprenticeships and traineeships are on a competency-based model. So once they finish the training, so they'll do training with a registered training provider. Once that training is complete and they get issued a certificate, you can sign that apprentice or trainee out of that contract. So that's just the maximum terms that are available.
Yeah, so 24 months unless you feel like they're competent before that, basically.
Correct, yeah.
Excellent. And if I was looking at putting a trainee on in the office, perhaps getting a Certificate 3 or 4 in Business Administration, what sort of time frame would I be looking at for that?
Yep, so a Certificate 3 in Business Administration is 12 months full-time or 24 months part-time. The part-time qualification has a minimum of 15 hours per week for the Certificate 3. The Certificate 4, if they go straight into that, it's 24 months full-time or 36 months part-time, and that would have a minimum hours required of 21 hours per week.
Yeah.
That same thing, and also you can look at that competency-based completion.
Okay. And also, so it would also be true, obviously, for people in the office, for traineeships in the office, that they would get that training at the moment subsidised and those incentives as well?
Yes, as well, exactly. As long as they're if we can assess them as eligible based on having no prior qualifications or older qualifications, then they can get those incentives as well.
Oh, perfect. Well, I think it makes a lot of sense if we're wanting to put a traineeship on to go through a provider such as Apprenticeship Support Australia. So if I have put a trainee on, for example, in the office, and then I'd like they've finished their traineeship and I'd like them to complete another traineeship, would that be possible, and would there be any incentives or the training paid for?
Yep, that's a good question, Kylie. So if they finish their traineeship, you have a 3-month window where you can sign them into another traineeship. So that potentially could be another Certificate 3 to cross-skill them in another part of the business, or it could be moving them up into a Certificate 4, so a high-level qualification. You don't get any federal incentives for that second qualification, but the cost of the training will be covered under that fee-free traineeship. So it's a good option to upskill people or cross-skill them across different parts of the business.
Yeah, that would be great, because if I have a traineeship in a lady in the office, maybe doing business admin, and then they complete it, and 3 months later they could be getting their Certificate 3 in Urban Pest Management. Yeah,
that could be an option, so they could potentially go out and potentially work in the field and learn that aspect, I guess, the other part of that business. That's definitely an option.
Yeah, that would definitely be a great attribute to anyone's pest business.
Excellent.
Thanks so much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, not a problem. Thanks for having me.
No worries. Thanks.
So that's Kylie's Ask an Expert. If there's any topics that you'd like to hear about, then please comment below and I'll do my best to source them out for you.
Thanks again for watching Kylie's Ask an Expert.